Hey guys, John from A Global. Just want to give a little tip before you install your Chamberlain Garage Door Opener. This is about hiding your wires. The manufacturer has nothing about this or what to do. If this is for most people, this is like an after construction type of install. So all the wiring that goes to your sensors or your switch, they look horrible. And this little video is how you can hide the wiring inside the actual track of the door to make it look cleaner, a little bit more professional. So it's my little recommendation and what I do and how I do it, and obviously it's at your own risk. But you can see I actually have a couple of doorbell type switches on this, and I actually ran one through the wall on this to get rid of the one that goes across the ceiling and into the house. This is actually the main doorbell switch for programming it for Wi-Fi. So I don't know if you have this model, but this is my model. It's the B550. I'm sure this goes through on many of the other models to do this, but there's some precautions you have to take to actually accomplish this. So as you can see, we're at the other end of the track, and where it comes out, there's actually a tab. It's a stop that has been up on the installation. But for the most part, what runs across the ceiling, this is what's going to be hidden within the track. And then on each sensor, on each side of the garage door, obviously you're going to have it, it's going to be exposed a little bit, but it's much better than having it run across the ceiling. So this takes a little bit more time. Manufacturers, I don't see recommends this, but it's something I do personally. It's my recommendation, my personal preference. So as you can see, that's the tab we actually have to pull the wiring through, because it's away from the wheel, and as it goes down, it won't allow it to bind on any of the mechanical functions of this. So in order to do this, when I was installing the track, I removed all the burrs inside of the track so I wouldn't have any issues with it scraping up the wiring and making it bare. But in order to make it a little bit more taut, there is some firmness to this wire. I had to basically put all the wiring together and tie it up in a knot and then place it in my cordless drill. And here's a little trick here, especially you're going to need a partner to do this. Once it's in the drill, you want to twist it all throughout, approximately the length of the distance of the track. So we're going to slowly do this all throughout, and you don't want to bind it up real tight, just a nice soft amount, just the distance of the track. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is a little area where we need it to pop out so where it doesn't get bound up in the track. Luckily, I had some low voltage cable that I'm going to use to actually fish it from one end to the other to actually pull the wiring through. I've measured out the distance of the track and then marked it with electrical tape to show that I actually made it to the other end by using that, so it gives me a guide. So now that wiring is going to the other end of the track, I got to get it out of there and actually use it as a fish wire to pull it through. So I made up a little piece of extra wire with a little hook on it to pull that wiring out inside of the track, and then use some needle nose pliers to actually pull it out. And there you see it. It's right at the other end, and we've got something to pull the wire through now. And now that we got this wiring pulled through, we're just going to use the actual wiring for the sensors and the actual doorbell switch, which goes out the door in the front. We're just going to twist them up, bend them over and twist them up, and then actually use a little bit of electrical tape to put it together and make sure they don't fall apart when I pull it backwards towards the opener. Can you go on the other end and pull it through? Oh, you need...
Where is it?
Pull that wire right there down.
This one?
No, see it hanging down, white?
This one?
Yep, pull it. Lightly, don't pull.
Okay.
Crazily.
Hey, you can pull the cable.
Keep going. A little at a time.
I don't remember this one. Any of the other 15?
Keep pulling. Hold on. So now that we got this pulled through, I want to show you the after it's been wired up and what it actually looks like. I don't want to show you the drama of actually wiring it. At this point, you should know what's going on and how to wire it to do this. But you can see how it cleans it up. It's nice. It's away from the actual the belt in itself, and it's hidden away with inside the track. Now on the other end, I could have used a few more twists for the wiring, but actually it did very well. It looks nice. It's cleaned up. You can see, obviously, it's going to go across the door and around the sides to the bottom for the sensors to actually do their job. But it came out pretty nice on this install. And here's another shot of that, a little bit more closer up to see how it came out. I can clean up the wires a little bit more, but it came out pretty good. It's much better than having wiring run across the ceiling hanging down, and looks much more professional. I know on newer homes that it's actually running the wall, but on older homes, trying to make it clean up and better is hard to do, and this is the best I can come up with to do this. I didn't see any videos online over this. So as a recap, the wiring is through the track now, and obviously it works like just any other garage door opener. And when you pull it through, you got to be very careful you don't actually scalp the wiring to where it'll ground out inside. In this house, obviously there's going to be two buttons. You got a main button that controls the lighting, program your Wi-Fi or however on the new MyQ, and with this one, there's actually, you have to use a special button to have two buttons on a controller, and I'll have that in a future video on which model number to use. But you can see on this one, obviously you got the two remotes for the car. There's a remote that you can put on the outside with a keypad, and program it to whatever you want it to be, and then at that point, it'll function as you need it. But please tell me in the comments what you think of this. I don't see anybody else doing this out there, and I honestly believe that if you got a professional installer, they should be doing this, and they don't. It's wrong that they don't, because you got all this wiring running across the top of your garage where it could be put in there nice and neat, and you can see how it's tied in right there, and it's much better. Obviously, I know there's a zip tie or two to clean that up a little bit more, but for the most part, you can see how it won't touch the belt. Cover is obviously hard to put on there, but it's a real nice setup for after the fact, for an old construction home to get rid of wiring. It's just an idea that some of you may be interested in doing. But one thing I'd like to bring up before I go, I'd like to get a little bonus on everything. A lot of the homes that are broken into in the United States are done through the garage doors. And how they do it is they actually use a piece of hanger. And if you put a zip tie right here, it allows that cord, the emergency cord, to open the door and release itself from the track so the door opens on its own. But what people do is they use a hanger. They either grab onto the track where it opens it up or pull on the cord. If you put a little zip tie on there, you'll save yourself a lot of headache in the future to where your emergency cord is still good, and you're good from there. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.